Thank you, Jimmy. Your teacher has taught well. Oh, good morning and welcome home to Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation as we gather today to celebrate Mother's Day and, due to family constellation changes and reconfigurations, celebrate all those who care for and nurture children. Announcements today. After the service, there's a meeting to discuss the budget. If you have questions, it was sent out on Friday. You'll be able to ask questions and get some meaning as to what it means. Next Sunday after the service is the congregational meeting where we will vote to adopt the budget and vote for officers and 3 or 4 other items. Please read the weekly Community Connections because that's where the information about what's going to be voted on at the meeting next week resides. Taco Tuesday is at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. Please join. If you've never been or you haven't been in a while, we have a DeBenneville Pine Weekend coming up June 9th through the 11th. I mean, it's a great opportunity to get up the hill and relax for a few days. Oh, and Reverend Maggie will be there. And Maddie's memorial service is Saturday the 17th. And we have a trip. There is a trip to the Philippines in July. Again, read the Community Connections every week to see if you want to go. So with that, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. And a big welcome to Jimmy Deng, who's filling in for Lily. I'll mention her again during our joys and concerns, because we have a concern for Lily. Her finger was squished. She's unable to play piano right now. The sliding door of her balcony did a number on one of her fingers. So Jimmy is here to fill in for her, and we're grateful for that. Welcome, Jimmy. It's almost like it was her playing. Thank you. Thank you. We open our service every week with a ringing of the bowl. We ring it three times. Once for those who came before, the Tongva and other indigenous peoples whose matrilineal societies cared deeply for this land that we name as home, for our ancestors, our grandmothers, and our founding members. We ring it once for those of us here and now. For all of our members, staff, friends, visitors, other UUs around the world, and also for those joining us on Zoom. Welcome to our Zoom people. Where's the Zoom camera? Forget which way to look these days. Where's that camera? Hi, everybody. Oh, I see all their hands waving, so that's good. Good. And we also ring it once for those who will come. For all who will come to walk beside us on this spiritual path that is ever unfolding. Welcome. I'm glad you're here on this beautiful Mother's Day. And we do invite everyone to come as we sing together our opening song, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. It's number 188 in our gray hymnal, but you probably know it by heart. We'll sing it 2 times through. Please stand as you're comfortable. Please be seated. I'll have you bouncing around for a little bit in a minute. But right now I'd like to invite Megan Gallagher up to light our chalice. This morning we light this chalice, symbol of our UU faith, with words inspired by Claudine Oliva. She writes, "For mothers and mothering, to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one, baby, child, or youth, into adulthood. To celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and hearts, and to celebrate those who are committed to the growth of others in this world and to the birthing of a kinder world community. We light this chalice to celebrate and hold dear this flame of love." Thank you, Megan. And now we'll sing our invocation. We'll sing it first in English and then in Spanish. It's all familiar to many of you. It's number 123, Spirit of Life. Stand as the Spirit of Life moves you.
Sorry to interrupt one moment. I see we have forgotten the slide, but I'm sure most people know it's okay. So sorry about that.
Should we start or wait?
Start.
Okay, go ahead. That was very nice. Thanks, Jimmy. A little bit slower than we're used to, but it's a little bit prayerful, sung slower. We don't miss any of the meaning in there. I invite you to turn to your order of service, unless Jaryus has a slide ready. We'll recite our covenant together. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian, Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Thank you. Beautiful. Now I'd like to invite Robert, our Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, up for our wisdom tale for today. It's written by Maureen Killeran, and the title is, "Let Us Tell Stories of Mothers."
Good morning, everybody. Let us tell stories of mothers, stories that could be true. Let us tell of warm mothers, soft and round, likely to be found with flour on their nose, and always ready to pour you a glass of milk to go with the cookies on your plate. These mothers are increasingly rare. Let us tell of mothers who are like bubbles of champagne. They surprise your senses, leave you giggly, but when you least expect it, they erupt with an unexpected pop. Stories that could be true. Then there are grouchy mothers, stressed mothers, exhausted mothers, faces lined with worry and spirits tired and gray. Other mothers are wise and reliable, not prone to many words or to a lot of noise, but you know that when you need them, they'll be there. Let us tell of fierce mothers, the ones who will love you even when you're wrong. Let us tell also of absent mothers whose memory shimmers at the edges of our hearts. Let us tell of distant mothers, cruel mothers, loving mothers, giving mothers. There are walkaway mothers, save the world mothers, too busy mothers, mothers you cry because you lost, and mothers who make you cry because you can't. Stories that could be true. May we hold in our hearts the mothers we have known, those who loved us and those who tried. May we forgive the mothers who didn't get it right and try to release the knots of disappointment, anger, grief, and pain. May we hold in our hearts the truth that mothering, nurturing, is a task that belongs to all of us. However old or young you are, whatever your gender, may you make extra room for nurturing in your life this week. May you say something real to a harried store clerk, give a coworker a genuine compliment, take time to listen deeply to your friends. In our shared silence, may we remember and reflect and create anew the stories of love and nurture from this point forward, stories that can be true. Thank you. And now I'm going to be going to my classroom where hopefully I have a lot of children on Zoom. You guys can sing us out.
Can we sing you out? Yeah. All right. Got your chalice? We have 12 people joining us on Zoom. I hope Robert has a good group joining him today for children's session. Today's offering message is inspired by our congregational budget process. Yuck. But yay. It's now coming to its blessed conclusion. And our gratitude for those who have worked so hard to get us to the draft budget that we will have today at our meeting that follows the worship service. Thank you. We offer our communal and our individual expressions of deep thanks to our treasurer, Carissa, to our finance chair, Maria, to the pledge team, Mark, and all of the committee chairs and the staff that have worked together to co-create a healthy budget. And Kay, oh yes, Kay. Kay and Mark were co-chairs, yes. Yep. And Maribel, wow. Everybody. Everyone. But church budgets are so very, very different than the budgets for schools or for businesses, as Mark can attest. They're built with care to reflect our passions, to fund our missions, to bring unity, and to weave our finances for the year into a story that tells about our expected success and the good work that we plan to do in the year ahead. And while, yes, these are challenging times, they are also incredibly important times. And despite the difficulties that are arising, we agree that it is indeed a great gift to be alive now and to be here in community together. It is not by fluke or coincidence, but with great purpose. Working in community with the like-minded and like-hearted people, all called to step in to make a difference with the gifts that each of us bring. We're grateful to be here, having a place where we know we belong, and with the invitation to participate with the work of activating change that is needed in our world. Each of us has a unique role to play as sacred beings in this web of interconnectedness, as all of humankind moves ahead to its next state of awareness and consciousness. For all of the gifts of this community, whether time or talent or treasure, we are so very grateful, and we promise one another to be good stewards of our shared dream. For those in the Zoom sanctuary, we invite you to visit our donation link in the chat box. Thank you, Jaryus, for posting the link to that. You can also find a donate button near the bottom of the online order of service. And we also invite those at home who use the postal service to continue to mail your offerings and pledges to our address here in Montclair. For those here in the sanctuary, I invite you to please come forward with your generous offerings and donations for the Beta Center at Inland Valley Hope Partners. For we are the keepers of the flame, and it is both our celebration and our gratitude that our offering will now be given and received. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. It's a good lead-in for our joys and sorrows. What great joy. Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. I don't know if Lily's on the Zoom watching. She might be. Yeah, and speaking of Lily, she is someone that is requesting that we all send her the healing energy that she needs to get her hands back working again after pinching it in a sliding door. Just the thought of it makes me go, ooh. So, yeah. I didn't have any other paper prayer requests that anybody had submitted to the basket in the back. So I just invite you to join me in a time of prayer and meditation for those that remain unspoken, and also as we hold our dear Lily together. Our time of prayer will end with a little bit of shared silence, and then we'll have a video for our quiet song for today. So as you sit comfortably, with your feet on the floor and maybe have your hands in your lap, wherever they're most comfortable, we breathe together, not to control our breath or make sure we're all inhaling at the same moment, but just to notice our breath. And what a miracle it is. Sometimes we control it, sometimes it controls us, but most often it's as if we are being breathed. It connects our hearts and our minds and our very lives to each other and to Mother Earth. We light up the web that binds us to all beings in this time of honoring the diverse identities of the divine feminine. We feel a strong sense of gratitude for this community of love and connection, and we are reminded of how much we mean to one another. We become aware of love more fully, and we open to see beyond what we are so certain that we know, to grow instead toward more awakening and connection and a deeper service. May our love shine forth from this place and from the sanctuary of each of our hearts, so that others may know that acceptance, community, and love are the gifts that we bring. With deep gratitude for life and for the chance we always have to choose love again and always, we connect with the spirit of life within us, to the spirit within those we love, within every being, and with the stars. Amen. could see, but the harpist has a little cellist necklace she's wearing. It's really beautiful. Our reading for today is called For All the Mothers, and it's written by one of the UU ministers named Linda Susan Ulrich, for your enjoyment. For all the mothers and mother figures, the grandmothers, aunts, and extended family who mother, the soon-to-be mothers, the wish they were mothers, the never wanted to be mothers, the birth mothers, foster mothers, adoptive mothers, and stepmothers, the used-to-be dad mothers, and more than one mom mothers, the single mothers, separated mothers, stay-at-home mothers, and unhoused mothers, the grieving mothers, those who grieve their mothers, and those whose grief is complex, for all of the communities that mother, and for all who depend upon the Great Mother. You are held, and you are beloved. Beautiful. Thank you, Jimmy. It was 1872, just 10 years after writing the Battle Hymn of the Republic, when Unitarian Julia Ward Howe began to advocate for the creation of a Mother's Day for Peace, to be held on June 2nd every year. Long before Mother's Day was celebrated nationally, Howe wrote her Mother's Day proclamation to urge women everywhere to join in the anti-war cause for peace building. You can hear her radical call to create peace that still resonates from her words. Our sons shall not be taken from us and forced to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them about charity, mercy, and patience. We, the women of one country, will be too tender-hearted toward those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own, and it says, disarm, disarm. The following year, 18 cities participated in the event, and the celebration seemed to be catching on. Some cities, and Boston among them, continued the observance for more than 25 years, but gradually, the energy behind the annual Mother's Day for Peace was waning. In 1907, Anna Jarvis, a Methodist, began a campaign to establish a permanent Mother's Day, and 7 years later, in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed a resolution establishing Mother's Day in the United States. The story is told that Jarvis later became troubled by the commercialization of the day, saying, "I wanted it to be a day of sentiment, not profit." Sounds like she's a Unitarian. But she's also known for having despised the invention of the Mother's Day card, describing it as a poor excuse for that letter that you're too lazy to write. It's so interesting how our culture has changed since then. Each of us could probably think of some moms who would give their eye teeth to receive a card on Mother's Day. But we're hard-pressed to remember when letter writing was a way of updating Mom on our current events, or expressing our appreciation for her in our own handwriting, especially cursive. But interestingly enough, though, Mother's Day remains the third most attended Sunday in North American churches after Christmas and Easter. And in many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations, the day has taken on a sense of being a day to mark the contributions of all women, not only those who are fortunate enough to be known as mother. The history of Mother's Day reminds us that it's more than a day for flowers and pancakes, but those are sure wonderful too. It's a time to highlight the aspects of motherhood that are not usually visible in the greeting card aisles. It is a call to honor the resiliency of all those who mother. and it's an opportunity to take action so that all families can thrive, especially those who suffer under hurtful policies or stigma in our current culture, both political and religious. So today we hold space for all of the many aspects of motherhood that create and birth new life. Mother's Day is perhaps best celebrated as a day that is both deeply meaningful and all about the flowers and handmade cards and Sunday brunches and waves of laughter. It means celebration and gratitude and warm embraces and great rejoicing. It means resting fully in all that is good about loving and being loved, no matter what. But as compassionate people who are ever seeking truth and ways to serve, we must remember that it's not always that way for everyone. For some, this day brings tears and opens old wounds. For some, it's just packed with hearts that never healed and resentment over love that was never given or received. In the hearts of many, today's a reminder of what was, but no longer is. Maybe it is such a day for you or someone you know. Consider this message a personal love letter to you who are struggling today, to you whose Mother's Day experience might be bittersweet or perhaps maybe even just bitter. This is consent to go right ahead and feel the contents of your heart without judgment. If you're hurting, may this be a safe place to acknowledge your feelings and maybe open the eyes of your heart, as St. Benedict might say, and look at it in a way that can speak into that wound with compassion. May you also find encouragement here, the kind only your broken heart needs. Perhaps you have suffered the loss of a child, no matter how old, the death of your own mother, no matter how early, or the loss of relationship, no matter why. Your grief is not to be polished up or pushed down or gotten over. Instead, tell others what truly hurts and what hurt feels like. Speak the name of those who have died and share that story that's in your heart. It's my guess that every one of us has a story about broken pieces that reveal less than Hallmark and not very Norman Rockwell's side of Mother's Day. I know it is a day like that for two of my close friends, and I'll tell you their stories. Stories are some of the best examples of that mother's love that gets real, and nothing can change that, no matter what. Shannon was only 23 when I met her in 2009. I was 53, and our rooms in grad student housing at Drew Theological School were just a few doors away. We became close friends right away. And even though she's 2 years younger than my son, we've been through enough together to have a kind of friendship that makes the 30-year age gap seem like nothing. I was among the friends who received this email from Shannon on February 10th. Hey guys, I need a lot of prayer and support. Aaron and I hadn't even told anyone yet, but I was 8 weeks pregnant. It's hard to write this, but I had a miscarriage this morning. Physically, I'm fine. No need for further procedures or anything, and it doesn't look like it's likely for this to happen again. But it is completely devastating, and to make it worse, today's Aaron's birthday. He was telling me that he was sure the baby was growing fine and healthy. This is his worst birthday ever. And one of the presents that I gave him for his birthday was a onesie for our baby that said Daddy's co-pilot. Shannon has a good support system that will be surrounding her at this time, and she knows she is held in the love of her friends. She also knows that she's the mother of a baby who died, a baby boy that she conceived on Christmas Day. She's a mommy who loves her son no matter what. And knowing Shannon, she's brave enough to be both crying and celebrating today as she gives the Mother's Day sermon at her Methodist church in Frederick, Maryland this morning. I met Kathy in 1986 when both of our young families began attending the same church in Syracuse, New York. She and I became close very quickly and grew to support one another and find new ways to maneuver through the complications in our lives. We shared a struggle that linked us and created a connection where we could offer each other support without much need for filtering our thoughts or explaining what was frustrating us the most. We both understood each other well beyond all social graces. We had lives that were just a bit harder than many of our friends. Kathy and I both lived with someone we loved dearly who was significantly disabled. My first husband and Nick's father was born with a severe spinal malformation known as spina bifida that kept him from growing taller than 4'3". And although his parents were told he would likely live no longer than 3 days, his strong determination and refusal to quit allowed him to become a powerful force in this world. Mike lived a very full life as a gifted musician, a wonderful dad, and a pretty darn good husband for 33 years. Kathy's son David was born with a facial abnormality that caused the joints in his jaw to fuse before birth. As he grew, he struggled to make friends, to find his way in a world that favored beautiful things. Like Mike, David endured many surgeries as he grew, trying to make his life less challenging and his appearance less shocking. Some of his surgeries were to enhance his own ability to eat and breathe without his tracheostomy, and some were strictly cosmetic, because to many who didn't know David well, he was hard to look at, and he found it hard to make friends. But our home was a safe place for David as a young child and a teen, and he often spent time with our family, because we are people who were used to different shaped bodies, and we were friends that never mocked him or rejected him for his disability. But as they grew, Nick and David took different paths as each of them followed their own ways, always wishing the best for one another, but rarely crossing paths anymore. It had been less than 10 years since we had been in touch with David, but in the middle of March 2013, the distance between our paths became blatant, and it became very terrifying. It was then that we learned that David had been arrested and charged with committing a horrifying crime, and we were in shock. How could this happen? What did he do, and what could we do with those strong emotions that we felt? There were no answers for the questions then or now. We still struggle with how to understand David's actions. And my son is not taking any steps to reimagine any kind of relationship with David now. It seems impossible that this fragile young friend would be able to commit murder, but he did. And he's now serving a life sentence in a federal prison with no hope of parole. The hardest lesson from this is also my greatest takeaway, because I know that I am able to love no matter what. David's mom, Kathy, has been a dear friend for over 3 decades, and she taught me many things over those years. But never in a million lifetimes would either of us have chosen to go through learning these lessons about a mother's love that she has provided for me. Her example of no matter what love is a long reach beyond anything that I've ever been asked to do. And I'm so moved by her example. I look at our first principle, the respect for the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and my eyes fill up with water. For Shannon, who's spending her Mother's Day trusting and hoping against all odds that the new pregnancy she has will not tell her no again. And for David and Kathy, visiting each other one day a month through thick federal prison glass, trying to understand how to move through their days, relying on love no matter what. 2 stories of a motherhood that grows and thrives in the hardest of ground. 2 stories of women with significant strength, integrity, and faith. 2 stories of love no matter what. So how do we best use their stories to make our own lives more meaningful? Do we feel relief and say, I'm so glad that wasn't me? Do we close our hearts to the suffering that others carry in order to keep a cheerful view of a perfect and imaginary mothering? Or do we bravely stand in the gap and hold an intention that the love of the Great Mother stands in that gap with us and for us, no matter what? So let's consider new ways to do that as we celebrate today for every mother. But let's close with a reading full of ideas on ways to do that. But I need your help. I need your voices to join mine, one at a time, in little groups of 3, little pop-up voices. You don't get to yell out during church normally, but I'm going to ask you to do that today. The reading is called I Am Mother, by Kristen Kay. So when I say I am mother, I'm going to put that out there for you. And if you are a mother or you want to respond, you just say, I am mother, okay? But we need 3 people each time. Does that make sense? So every time I'll have, maybe Carissa, if you would help me out here. I am mother. Good. See how we did 3? Then it's going to come around again, and maybe another 3 will say it, okay? That was rehearsal. The curtain's going up. I am mother. I am mama, mommy. I am Chinese, Jewish, African, Republican, Muslim, lesbian, Catholic, Cuban, Irish, straight, Democrat, Baptist, German, Latina, Native American. I am Russian. I am a mother to my baby, a true miracle on this earth. I nurture this precious being, whether conceived in my body or that of another woman or in a medical laboratory, a precious being whom I love more than life itself. I am mother. What do you dream for you, my child? That you feel loved deeply, that you know you are truly worthy, that you are never hungry or cold or thirsty, that you are safe and that you never fear for your life. I am mother.
I am mother. I am.
May you be able to read and write and develop a lifelong of learning. May your soul be soothed by soft, beautiful music, and may you be enchanted by the many worlds of written word. May you wake and wonder to a glorious sunrise and feel the warmth of those rays for years to come. May you be stirred by the soft velvet of a lush forest floor. May your heart dance to a serenade of birdsong. May you watch salty surf wipe away your footprints in the sand, and may you see soft snowflakes pile on pine boughs, cascading fragrantly up the mountainside. May you feel life's deepest beauty, and may you embrace it on the most profound levels. May you always be intimate with truth and peace. Instead, there will be, indeed, dark hours, but they're short. And that very pain can open the door toward light, yours and all of the world's. I am mother. All together. I am mother. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. Our sending song today is something a little different than we've done since BC. Do you remember BC, before COVID? We have a member of the congregation who mentioned to me that, you know, we used to always stand in a circle at the end of the service. So let's do that today. Let's all stand in the circle, and we're going to sing our sending song. I'm not going to ask you to hold hands or even stand close to anybody if you want, but as you're comfortable, please stand along the windows on the outside where you can still see the screen. And we will sing 3 verses of We Are Dancing Sarah's Circle. And if you feel like dancing in the circle we're creating, that is perfectly fine. Jimmy? Extinguish the chalice. We will read together for anyone who brought their order of service with them into the circle. I'll read it. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection or the sense of belonging. We carry our concern for each other, for our faith, and for the world. So until we are together again, friends, be strong, be true, be well, and be kind. Let's enjoy the postlude.